Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. It's been a couple of weeks since you saw me. That wasn't intended whatsoever. Unfortunately, last week I wasn't feeling too well, so I ended up having to I had to take some time off work for sick leave and just let my body recover. Yeah, my endo decided to be really annoying, and yeah, it was just like, oh, for goodness sake. I kind of feel like so far this summer, I mean, it's not been like terrible, like garthy, but it's just been like every time that I want to just relax or something has gone wrong. I've either something's come up out the blue, I've gotten ill, we've had heat waves and such, and it's just like, oh, for goodness sake, just please can we stop? When I've got my free weekends, can it actually be a case of that I'm able to relax and nothing happens to get in the way? But oh well, we'll just see what happens going forward. But yeah, obviously, apart from not being well, I've been busy with work, been doing some training at work and such. I've also I've just in my downtime, when I've had downtime in the evenings and such, I've been rewatching Tenko. I'm now watching Vera, that I just randomly started watching the other day, and I absolutely love it. I've never watched it before, and there's 14 series, so I'm like, yes, cool. Doing cross stitch and all this lot. I've been distracting myself with various things, but yes, I'm hoping now, because we are in August, how did that happen, that the rest of the summer will go smoothly. But being August, we're probably going to have another heat wave on the horizon. I don't know, we shall see. I shouldn't tempt fate, I know, touch wood, that won't happen, but let's see what happens. But I'm also very, very excited because day before yesterday, because today's Sunday, not Saturday, won't get my days muddled up, the new year at work for annual leave became available, and I have booked off the week of the new strike book. So I've got the whole week off. It comes out on Tuesday, the 2nd of September. So yep, that whole week I am off work, and I have no other plans than to be there at Waterstones in Cheltenham for 9 a.m. opening, get my copy, get the hell home as fast as I can, and then start reading and just read. Oh my god, I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, it just very, 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 very exciting. So I can't wait to see what happens next in the strike universe. And I've also booked myself a couple of weeks off in October, and I'm thinking of going back to York. So yeah, we'll see about that. It's been years since I had 2 weeks off together at work, and even then, that was the first time I'd ever done that. So this is only the second time I've ever done that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a couple of weeks off in October as well. But anyway, enough about what's been going on with me. Let's talk about the book that I'm here to review, which is The Black Candle by Catherine Cookson. So in case you're not aware, I have got quite a collection of Catherine Cookson books that I've been collating over the time, and I am nearing the end of the collection now. This is really sad, but I've got about 30, and she wrote over 100 books, and I've watched all her dramas, which is what kicked off me getting a load of the books, and this is one of the books obviously that I had. Now, Black Candle is actually a book that I distinctly remember the cover of, that my mum had, because my mum really loved Catherine Cookson books as well, but she had a hardback copy, and it was actually the cover, the entire spine bit here was raised, and it was a black candle, and you could run your finger over it and feel like the wax and everything on it. It was a really cool book cover. I remember the book cover, but I don't remember my mum reading it. And when I told my mum I was reading The Black Candle, she was like, oh, I love that one, it's so good. So yeah, went into this. I had seen the drama, but I'd only seen it once, and that was quite a significant, couple of years ago. So I couldn't really remember the story. Okay, so I went into this. Well, I'm going to say I went into it blind, even though I had watched the drama. I couldn't remember much, okay, or anything really. So there we go. So what is this book about? This book is about a woman called Bridget. Now, Bridget is quite a wealthy woman. She inherited her father's candle and canning factory. So they make candles and cans. And interesting combination, I know, but it's still, you know, industry and everything. And she is quite a wealthy woman because of it. And just so you know, this is set in the 1880s, and black candles had a significance. Just as the Victorians believed that their flowers had certain meanings and such, so did candles. And a black candle is the sign of protection. There is a strength, a bond, a protection, and yeah, the flame is meant to signal it all being you. And if you have a black candle and it's lit in your home, it's a protection around your home and you as an individual. So so that's what the black candle stands for. And she owns this factory that makes these candles. And she has one of her workers is a guy called Joe. He's not manager, but, you know, he's got a very, you know, strong role amongst the team, and she really respects him. He works so hard. He is a poor man, but he, you know, he does well with what he has. He has really, really good morals, and she really respects him. They really respect each other. Joe gets caught up in a situation and where he and his brother witness something in the woods one day which will change the course of his life, but it will also change the course of Bridget's life, as her cousin, who she's not smart, but she's not, is the word, she's not unintelligent at the same time. You know, she falls for someone who Bridget has kind of concerns over, and these two stories collide together, which will impact all of their lives and future generations to come. So that's the general outline of the story. I really liked this book, but I think the first half is stronger than the second half. Now, let me explain. So the first half of the book covers, you know, the 1880s period, as I said, you know, with Bridget and Joe and Bridget's cousin and all the characters that, you know, get brought together with the thing that is going to affect all of them. And then we have time jumps that go as far as like 30 years into the future, okay, in the second half. Now, the first half, Catherine does exquisitely. I am not kidding when I say this really, really reminded me of Hard Times. Now, I've said that before about one of our other books in my reviews, and I can't remember for the life of me which book it was. But the fact that we have people of industry caught up in the binds that they have in their society, it's dark, it's bleak, it's nasty work. We've got, you know, people of lower class who are pulled through it because it's the only thing that the only way they can guarantee kind of like work that will give them the money. We have a poorer guy who is caught up under that umbrella, who gets into a situation, and he's Stephen Blackpool. If you've read Hard Times or watched the drama of Hard Times or know the story of Hard Times in general, then you'll know who Stephen Blackpool is, and Joe is the Stephen Blackpool of this book. He's absolutely wonderful character. I really, really love him as a character. But it was like, oh wow, this really is Catherine Cookson's telling of Hard Times. That's not a bad thing, just to clarify, but I just couldn't help but put those dots together in my mind as I was reading this book. But then when we have the jump, it feels quite jarring. I mean, she has done time jump books before, and I have read a load of time jump books of hers, and I have loved them. That with this one, I just feel like the energy that encapsulates the first half of the book, it gets kind of depleted away, and I think it's just simply because of the shift of what happened in the north of England between the Victorian period with the Industrial Revolution and the 1920s era and such, where obviously industrialization was still in existence in the north of England, but it wasn't the same degree. Like with the black candle is a sign of protection, but also you can feel it as being the mud and the coal and the dirt and that covers the skin of the poor, the people who work for Bridget, that kind of thing. But what I do love also about the first half of the book is that obviously Bridget is a woman of great respect in the world of business, which is wonderful to see, but also that Bridget completely recognises how she, being the owner of the business and it's her decision making and such, how she affects thousands of people. And I'm not just talking about the workers who work for her, I'm talking about she thinks of everything on the wider scale. She thinks about each worker's family members, all the people who make the ingredients to bring to her warehouse to then, which the workers then put together to make the candle. She thinks about everyone on the wider scale and the impact of her on their lives. And I really like that, because sometimes, especially, and let's face it, whenever we have fictionalized accounts of industrialization, it has a tendency to be men, and they only think about the individuals who are directly in front of their faces as being the people who they impact at most, and don't consider their families and such. So I really like the fact that we had a woman in business who was really considerate of everyone who she impacts, and she is a leader, and she is strong, and she knows the world, and she isn't afraid to recognize her faults as well. She's really quite a complex character, is Bridget. So then to have the shift over to, right, it's the next generation now, we don't need to talk about those individual characters anymore, I felt quite sad. I mean, she was there still, but obviously there was a point where she had to go because of her age. And then it was like, oh, okay, right, we don't have her anymore. And I felt really sad. And it was so kind of just blunt, just to say, oh, she died. Like, what? But then obviously her age, it totally makes sense. And I'm sorry for that spoiler, but you understand that because she is like in her 30s, and I think she's about her late 20s in the beginning of the book. So pick up the time, because of life expectancy around that time and everything, is like, okay, I get it. But still, it was just kind of like, she was a massive character, and Catherine just in one line, gone, bye. Just, I was a bit taken aback by that. I mean, obviously she has done that with other characters before in time jump stories, but they've had a significant, if they've been a significant character, they've had a significant recognition, and she didn't, and that really kind of irked me. And I get why this story, she decided that she wanted to talk about the next generations and the impact and stuff. It reminded me also, I haven't read it, but I've seen the drama multiple times, Cain and Abel. next generation part of the Cain and Abel story is in the Jeffrey Archer book, not the Bible, your story. Just to be clear, biblical story. The Jeffrey Archer story. Yeah, it reminded me of that, and it was just a bit. So I did like this book, but I think the first half is so much stronger. There's so much atmosphere and emphasis, and I liked the fact that she, even though she did follow convention, she didn't at the same time. I never felt fully stable on my feet when I was around various characters, apart from Bridget and Jo. And what she does to Bridget and Jo in this book, ooh, I liked it. I did like that. I love the fact that she gave everyone in the story their space to exist. She didn't just go, oh, here's a character, and then just not see them again for a while. You learn all about their backstories, you get to know them as individuals, you understand their place in society and why they are needed in this story. So I really respect Catherine for doing that. I feel like the first half is so strong and then it kind of wilts away for me. But it's not a bad book whatsoever. Now, the drama, as I mentioned, after I finished reading this, I rewatched the drama. I forgot, and now that I've read the book, I completely understand why they did this. The drama is about an hour and, I think without advert breaks, is about an hour and 45 minutes long, so it's shorter than the other. It's one of the shorter ones out of all the other Catherine Cookson books. The drama only covers the first half of the book. Once the 1880s stuff is done, that's the end of the drama. That's it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So either it could have been because of the amount of time and budget of what they had available to be able to dramatize this book, or they felt that the second half of the book, like I felt, was quite a shift and it didn't quite work for them for the dramatization. So they decided instead just to dramatize the first half, and I'm okay with that. I really am okay with that. What they dramatized, they did well. I felt. They really captured the bleakness of this story. This is a particularly dark emphasis on the first half of the book. It's like, and where they end the drama at that point in the book, it's like, well, so no one gets the happy ending. No one really gets the fresh air, the clear sky and everything, which I quite like. And maybe that's the thing that I love. I really love Hard Times by Charles Dickens. I think it is an absolute gem of a book. And yeah, it's a really, really interesting story where kind of the same thing happens. But Catherine Cookson, instead of kind of ending it like Hard Times, because I really strongly feel this is her version of Hard Times, she goes, right, we're going to time jump and then we're going to follow the next generation for a bit and kind of mend wounds over there. And it just kind of irked me a bit. I get why she did what she did and I respect what she did and everything, but I finished this book and I just kind of, I felt like the second half didn't quite sit the same for me as the first half. So if the book had ended at the midway point like the drama does, I would have been okay with that, to be honest. I really would have. Because sometimes it's just that thing that she's covered in life. There are some things where people don't get their happy endings. Comeuppances can happen. Sometimes they don't happen, or sometimes you have to wait a long time for those things to happen. There are some people who get wounded and will never recover. You know, I love the fact that Catherine is not afraid to explore those elements at all. Um, but yeah, I kind of feel like, because she always has at least one character who gets a good ending, in her books, at least one. And well, I suppose except for the Malin trilogy, because the very end. Oh no. Okay, no, strike that. No, I was thinking wrong. Yeah, I mean there are some serious characters who don't get that happy ending in those books, because I'm thinking over the course of the 3 books, but the overall ending, you do have a good ending. So I'm sort of talking rubbish there. But like the ending of the first book, I mean, there may be characters who don't get their happy ending, but the end of the 3rd book, there is, sort of thing, for the overall ending. But yeah, I think it would have been a lot more interesting if she ended it with the 1880s, where no one really gets their happy ending, and what that would mean. Yeah, it's a bit of a quirky one, this one. Like, I'm really happy with the first half, but I'm not so happy with the second half. That I get why the second half, it is very robust. It is very well put together. It is very well played out. It is very well written. The characters are great. The setting is so atmospheric. I just wished it had ended a bit differently for me. I think that's the way to say it. And yeah, as for the drama, as mentioned, it's well put together. I think it caught the tone of the first half of the book beautifully. The cast is really strong, for the characters that they show, because obviously, as I said, they don't adapt the second half of the book. I think, yeah, it's a pretty decent drama overall, and I like the way that they ended it. Because obviously it is quite abrupt ending, but then again it kind of isn't. And the final shot I thought was really, really beautiful to recognise a certain character and everything that they did through the course of that first half of the book. But yeah, I'd recommend the drama to you for sure. And I actually found that here in the UK there is a free app called You, because there's a series of channels that are owned by You, like You and Alibi, You and Gold, is it You and Yesterday, and they've got a load of the Catherine Cookson dramas available for free through their app here in the UK. So if you want to find them, I suggest you go there. It doesn't cover every drama, just so you're aware. I think there's about 10 of them, but yeah, it doesn't cover every drama, so just so you're aware. But the Black Candle is there, because that's what I when I rewatched, because it was available, rather than going upstairs and getting my DVD box there, I was like, oh, it's here right now, I'll just watch it. So there we go. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on The Black Candle by Catherine Cookson. So it's time to ask my usual questions. Would I read this again? Yes, I would, but I think quite possibly I might just read the first half, just because, as I said, it is so atmospheric and so great, the first half of the book. It just depleted away for me in the second half, but that's not going to stop me from rereading it whatsoever, because it was a really, really good, decent story, and I really love the characters and everything. And yeah, the Black Candle itself, what it means, the protection, the orb around the home of those that it protects, it's a really lovely thing to have as your symbol of the story. Would I recommend this to anyone? Yes, I would, definitely, because I love my Catherine Cookson. I'm always going to recommend her. And would I read any more of Catherine's books? Sorry, there's a massive plane going over my house right now. There we go. Would I read any more of her books? Well, of course. I've still got, I think, like 5 more to go. And just so you know, I bought another one for my birthday. but I will reveal what that one is later, because I want to get through the ones in my jar before I read that one, because that one is important to me and I want it to be the last one of my collection, my current collection that I read. So there we go. So there's my thoughts on The Black Candle by Catherine Cookson. Have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment, comments box below. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tag to get out your side. I'll be back with my thoughts on my next read, which I remembered to get off my coffee table this week, because last week I forgot, which is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. And just so you're aware, this is the Bookishly specially designed book cover that I got in their advent calendar, but when you have a look, it's the Wordsworth collection, and it's actually, it says Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with the Merry Men and Other Stories. So I've got other stories to read by Mr. Stevenson in this collection. So yeah, we'll see what I think. It's very short, so for certain I'm going to be back with you next weekend, and fingers crossed nothing is going to get in the way of that. So I'll be back next week, touch wood, with The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde to review. All right then, everyone. Bye.